special edition of Late Night Health. I'm Mark Allen. We're going to take a look at World Parkinson's Day with people who have Parkinson's, as well as those who are assisting family members and friends who have Parkinson's. Our guest today is John L. Lear. He's the president and CEO of the Parkinsons-Foundation. And Susan Brown, she's a Parkinson's patient herself and a caregiver to her dad. That's got to be particularly hard, Susan.
It is hard. Some days are easier than others, but it's the reality. Genetics obviously play a role. My dad was also diagnosed in his 50s. He was probably maybe 55. I was 50, had been experiencing some symptoms earlier, and, finally put some things together and realized that I had some symptoms that looked pretty familiar, and went to the neurologist. But I think it surprised everybody in our family, but, it also sort of elevated the sense of urgency our family has to find a cure and to try to live well with the disease, so that I can take care of my father and, frankly, my children and my husband. I mean, it was a bit of a surprise.
It's more than a full-time job. John, is this why early detection is so important?
Yeah, I think for a number of reasons. One, if you're starting to have symptoms, getting a diagnosis takes some of the guesswork out. You at least know what you have and what you're dealing with, and then once you know that, as difficult as Parkinson's is, you can start to, get on a medicine drug regimen that's going to help you with your symptoms. And then you can start to do other things like connect with other people who have the disease, because that's really important in terms of having support. And then really starting to exercise, which, over the last 10 years has been one of the things we've learned most about this disease, that if you're exercising and staying physically fit, you're not going to beat back Parkinson's, but you may keep it at bay. And then, doing things like dance or boxing, things that you may never have done in your life, but those help retrain the brain and with circuitry and giving you more elastic function. So we encourage all that, and I think that really starts with an early diagnosis.
And we've actually done a couple of interviews on boxing and Parkinson's, because where I live in Thousand Oaks is one of the few boxing Parkinson centers in Southern California, and it is important. What about young people? Susan, you're young, but what about younger people in the 20s and 30s? Are they getting Parkinson's?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'll answer that, and then Susan can talk about her young onset experience. So most people with Parkinson's are going to be diagnosed in their 60s and 70s and 80s, but there's about 4 or 5% who we call young onset diagnosis. That's people who are diagnosed age 50 or less. People who are even younger in their late teens and early 20s, those are very rare. But it does happen, right? And for those folks, it's a long journey. Susan can talk about this, but one of the interesting things is people who have young onset may live a long life. They may have a somewhat different course than people who are diagnosed later in life.
Susan, I'm curious. I mean, with the palsy, the shaking that happens, it doesn't stop even when you try to sleep. And that's got to be exhausting when you wake up.
The part that I find, I have a tremor in my foot. That's really what started as my most prominent symptom. One of the interesting things about sleep is that, and I think it's about 60% of Parkinson's patients experience a significant sleep disruption. So I'll wake up, I think they say on average maybe 7 times a night, and for me it's gotten to the point where I just get up. I'm up at about 3 in the morning. That compounds the other symptoms. If you're already fatigued or you're experiencing some other symptoms. So the sleep aspect of it is a big deal, and I'm wrestling with it myself. I mean, I've tried a number of medications, and I'm all over the sleep routines and so on and so forth. But that's hard. If I have 2 kids and a job I'm supposed to be doing well at, it's hard to do it on sleep deprivation.
Yeah, absolutely. We're supposed to be at 7 to 8 hours minimum. Something I have to work on too. Listen, folks, we're running out of time because I just promised to keep John and Susan going. Maybe we'll do this again before Parkinson's Awareness Day, which is in the middle of April. Go to parkinsons.org for more information. If you want to make a donation, it's one of the best charities. It's got a great ranking of transparency, and that place again is parkinsons.org. There's a phone number if you want as well. John, can you give us that phone number, please?
Sure. It's 800-4PD-INFO, 800-4PD-INFO. That's our helpline, open during normal business hours in the U.S.
Gotcha. Guys, I promised to let you go, so I'm going to. This is Late Night Health. We'll be back.